Greetings and welcome. My name is Jason Adkins, speaker, author, and local real estate expert. I'm excited to introduce you to my new series where I will be bringing in some of my friends, professionals, and other local experts. We're going to be talking to you about real estate, business, and events going on in your communities. Welcome to my circle. Welcome to our first episode. I am so excited to be here today. Our guest is real estate photographer with Miranda Gibson Graphics, Miranda Gibson, and from Pillar to Post Home Inspection, I have Luke Jacobson. Thank you guys and welcome to my very first show. I'm so excited to have you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for letting us be here.
Can you tell us quickly a little bit about your business?
Sure. So I actually work as a real estate photographer. So I get to service the realtors out there that really need that extra push to make their listing shine. It's a really fun place to be in the market because you get to be a little bit of their edge and help represent everything that the time they pour into their listings and their buyers, their sellers. From every aspect you look at, you really get to help show the quality of the property that's being represented. So,
and you do more than that. You do videography, graphic design, you name it, right? So
yeah,
there's a plethora of things.
We're up in the sky, doing aerial shots. I try to look at every property individually and see what's going to help it best shine, but not only in a way of aesthetics. You know, we can make a lot of pretty pictures out there for most properties, but what actually tells the story of the property that you're trying to sell, and how are you trying to sell it, who are you trying to sell it to? So those are the things I try to keep in mind is, am I making this look like the dream to that person?
Dream to that person. I like it. And Luke, tell us about Pillar to Post.
Yeah, so we're a full service home inspection business. So we do a few different main things, obviously. So the biggest one being home inspections themselves. So anytime there's a real estate transaction, obviously, you want your clients to know the ins and outs of that property before they say yes to it. You want to know anything and everything that could possibly be wrong with it, and also not just the bad, but you also want to know what's good with it, right? So we try not to just highlight the bad, but we try to give the full picture. So on top of just the regular home inspections, we also do mold testing, radon testing. We also have some other top of the line tools for the industry. We have the ability to do drone inspections. So if you have a property with a unique roof that is difficult to get to, we have the ability to fly and take a good look at that. And then we also have sewer scoping is another thing that we offer. So you take a look at that drain line going out to the street and make sure that there's no underlying issues.
That is awesome. And how many employees do you have now?
Currently, there are 4 of us. So myself, and I've got 3 other people working for me.
I love it. I love it. We did quite a few deals together already, right? I think you've done maybe 75% of my transactions.
Yeah.
What I love about it is you guys also offer pre-listing home inspections.
Right.
And so when I have people that are looking to sell, there's no surprises because they're doing the inspections beforehand. So I love that. Are you originally, I have a couple questions, sorry.
No, you're
Are
good.
you originally from Alaska? If not, what brought you here?
So I'm originally from Arkansas, and I'm sure that accent will kind of slip its way in there a few times. But my husband's actually military, so he brought us to Alaska, and we've fallen in love with it. So we've already pushed for an extension, got it approved, plan to retire out of Alaska and kind of see where that takes us. But there's a certain charm here that kind of takes hold.
It does have a way to keep you here. I absolutely love it. And Luke, are you from Alaska?
So I am from Alaska originally. I was born and raised in Anchorage, actually, and then spent the majority of my life here. In 2001, my dad, I was just a kid still. My dad moved out for work, and so we moved down to the Seattle area. Spent about 8 years down there, and met my wife, got married, and as soon as we were to the point where we were financially stable and comfortable and everything, we made the plan to move back, and we moved back here, and we've been here pretty much ever since.
and you actually reside in the Kenai Peninsula.
I do. Even though I reside in the Kenai Peninsula. But even though I'm down there, we have a couple other inspectors that work for us, and we cover Anchorage, Matsu Valley, pretty much anywhere in South Central Alaska. So we're kind of all over the place.
And I love Kenai. I love having us or someone I could reach out to because the fishing was amazing this year. So I reached out to Luke. He took me out, and I learned how to what's it called, flipping?
Yeah, flipping.
Oh, very nice.
I didn't know what that was actually. And you just kind of get used to it, tossing back and forth. So that was exciting. I always tell people come to Alaska to do salmon fishing, the 5 different types of salmon.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's amazing. So let me ask you guys, so people can get to know you, right? What is something that you value, or what is your value?
That's a great question. So the first thing that comes to my mind is authenticity. And I think the reason that stands out to me the most is because when even just sitting with a group of people talking about things, like if I feel the tension or if I feel something, I begin to be more performative. So I feel like when I meet people in their most authentic self and I see them performing, their ethics are aligning with that authenticity, they're making all the choices that behind closed doors that they would out in the open. That to me is what seals the deal on this is somebody I want to support, I want to stick by their side, I want to be in a partnership because you know that that's a place where you can trust where you're at. Yeah. And you also feel like you can step forth in your own authenticity and be comfortable with that, not feel like, okay, this is very vulnerable. And even if it is, you know that it's an okay place to do so.
Yeah, I like it. Because I always get nervous, right? So I come off a little guarded sometimes because sometimes people are fake and you don't know, right? You don't know if you can trust them or anything.
Yeah.
And so when they are authentic all the time, then you can relax and just be yourself around them and not worry about if they're going to stab you in the back as soon as you turn around. So yeah, I can enjoy that too. What about you, Lou?
I think of value in integrity. It's real estate's an industry where there's a lot of pressure to maybe rush or overlook things, and being authentic, kind of like she said, it all ties together. Honesty, authenticity, and integrity, I think all kind of tie together. And being honest and doing a thorough job and doing what you should be doing, I think is that's huge for me. And at the end of the day, I think that brings the most driven results, is just being consistent and having that reputation.
Oh, yeah, because our reputation is everything in this business, right? It's a small community in Alaska. And so how you make that person feel will determine whether or not they refer you again or if they'll work with you again, right? And so, yeah, you guys hit it on right on the head. I love it. I want my audience to know a little bit more, right? So they can get comfortable to know a little bit about you guys. So what would you say is your biggest fear?
So that's a tricky one because I actually I'll say my biggest fear is definitely being the weak link or the person that holds people back. So I think what a lot of people will find is complacency when they get consistent with, say, like we do a lot of listings together. It would be easy for me to become complacent. Like, okay, I know Jason's going to trust me to show up, so I don't have to really try to up level or anything because he's going to call me. It's okay. But I think that the fear is like falling into that complacency and not realizing that you will slowly drift into a weight that's holding that person back. So I guess my biggest fear is not keeping up with that growth and just constantly making sure that I'm not becoming complacent in my comfort.
How about you?
My biggest fear is probably public speaking or speaking in front of a crowd of people. So it's something, I've struggled with it for all my life. I used to be the one that was scared when I had to get up and at church and read something in front of the congregation or anything like that, or do a presentation at school and have to read your presentation in front of 50 other people. But it's something all you can really do is just keep pushing forward and the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. So I've definitely grown a lot personally with my struggles as far as that goes. But it still something I do fear daily.
And that's common, right? That's actually one of the most common fears. And where you were speaking, right? Speaking in church, you definitely don't want to misquote scripture, right? Because you know church folk, they know the word, and you don't want to misquote that. So it's a tough place to start, right?
Yeah.
Kind of piggybacking what you were saying, in business, especially if you're trying to go out on your own, if you're doing a startup, you're an entrepreneur, however that may look, and even if you're part of another corporation, I tend to be on the introverted side. So I've found that trying to put myself out there and do the speaking, the podcast, like whatever it may be, it's really challenging to get yourself out of that headspace and be comfortable with that opening up and really allowing yourself those opportunities. Because what I found myself doing before as an introvert is kind of hiding away and making a plan, always planning, always going, okay, I'm going to do this when I feel ready. But that part of myself, I don't know will ever change. So
yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Like you sit there and like, you know that you're going to have to speak in front of people. So you're sitting there making notes, making sure that everything that you have is going to be perfect. And you know exactly what you're going to say. And then you get out there and you don't have your notepad with you and your mind goes blank. So you got to improv.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as a speaker, I do that too. I had to just let go, right? Just go with it. Because I used to practice by talking to myself, and then I would feel weird about that. And then, who are you trying to impress, right?
Yeah.
And so as long as you get up there and do it, that takes courage enough. Are there any hidden fears, stuff that maybe someone wouldn't know about you?
Ooh, let me think on that. You want to go first?
I have an irrational fear of failure. So I don't know why, because I know that if you just put your best foot forward and give things all your effort, that success comes to people that earn it, right?
Yeah,
but I don't know. I've always had this. I lay awake at night sometimes, this fear of what if, what's the worst possibility, what's the worst possible thing that can happen.
Yeah.
So
okay. I'm afraid of heights. I don't tell a lot of people that, right? My wife wants to go bungee jumping. She wants to do all this crazy stuff. I will not. I will never. And I think it might be linked to my childhood, maybe. I went zip lining one day, and I'm curious, always been curious. And so I wanted to see how high I was. And they told me, Jason, stay away from the edge. But I wanted to see. And I slipped and fell all the way down this mountain. And my dad was a forest firefighter, right? And so it's so funny. You can't make it up. The fire dog was chasing me down the side of this mountain to the bottom. And I got up, had maybe a little scratch on my elbow. But ever since then, I've been loosely afraid of heights, right? I had the public speaking thing. I had the fear of failure thing. I had the fear of letting people down. And it's all stuff that I had to just get over it, right? And just push forward. And you're right. If you're motivated, the right things are going to happen as it's supposed to.
Right.
And we just have to trust our faith and trust God that's going to take care of you and just be the light. And I'm so excited with that. What are some other things that you would like to share about yourself and about your business that makes you different from the others?
Yeah, so the edge that I find in my business is that I often take a slower pace at times to keep that authenticity and to make sure that I'm not doing what cuts corners so that I can get more clients quickly or however that may look. But I like to think a little bit outside of the box. I tend to lean more so on the creative side than logistics and all that. But I really look at the property, the buyer, the experience, and I try to think of how can I represent this not in just the standard cut and dry way, like I'm posting it, here's the house, here we go, but how can I get in there and really make someone feel the experience of this place? So I think that that's my edge, is that I get in that property, whether it's commercial, residential, maybe it might just be land, but I get in there and I try to see it from the perspective of somebody that is actively enjoying and already purchased. So
And that's what I love about you is you don't hide anything, right? We don't mislead in our advertising. I said, hey, if it's there, it's going to be in the photos because we want them to see what they're buying. And so when a new buyer is coming from out of state, I don't want them to be surprised. Right?
Yeah, where did this bus come from?
Exactly.
Why was I not in the picture?
If there's a sinkhole, we're going to capture the sinkhole. I want them to know what it is that they're buying. And we did quite a number of deals together, transactions together, so I love it.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah. What would you like to say about your business that makes you different?
I'd say one of the biggest things is we're not just there for a single transaction. I run into people that I've done inspections for a year later. I've run into them at the grocery store and they remember me because, I left an impression because, we were there for the education process. It wasn't just it's just in, out, and here it is, and you're done. We always welcome people to save our phone number and call us if they have additional questions. And that's one thing that I think is big. And then on top of that, I think we offer a unique perspective on a lot of things. With having not just myself, but having a couple of others that work for me. We have a wealthy knowledge base broad knowledge base. So one of my employees used to be a roofer for a long time. So we kind of have, the guy we can lean on when we have issues with the roof or attic spaces, those sort of things. And then the other guy, Zach, he used to work with the rural cap program. So he was involved in building a lot of those houses. So he's very knowledgeable in, the entire process from the ground up. And then I have a background in contracting myself. So I kind of know a whole lot about a whole spectrum. And I have a pretty broad knowledge of different systems, components, and things that go in from beginning all the way to the finish.
That's what I love the most about working with you guys, because you guys are educators. You're not just out there doing a job, right? I always tag along and go to the home inspections, and you guys never make me feel uncomfortable.
Right.
If I have a question, you'll talk me through, and I've learned so much about real estate just talking with you guys. And so I do so much appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's important too. I've been told by people we've done inspections for that they appreciate the way that we talk to them and explain things to them, because they said they've had inspections from other inspectors before and they felt like they were being treated like they were stupid because they didn't understand something and they were talked down to, which is, it's not somebody's fault that they are not educated in something. They just they haven't learned it yet, right? So it's very important the way you present that to somebody and educate them about, what the system or component is that they're looking at and the ins and outs of it.
What are some of your passions, right? What are some things that you guys are motivated about? What excites you?
So my passion is being actively engaged in the community, not just in a volunteering base, but really getting out and truly understanding where you're from, where you're living. So whether that be hiking, the fishing charters, stuff like that, but really getting out there and knowing the culture, knowing the community, where to connect, that is super important to me. And I feel like it's what roots you quickly, especially if you're military based and you move, you have to get out there and figure that out quickly so you can really be connected.
And you've been very critical to Ignite Your Fire, right? My motivational speaking platform. Miranda does all my videography, so she's there at every event. And she kind of seen me grow. Mm-hmm. When I had a little bit fear my very first time doing my first show, it's not something that I do all the time.
You wouldn't notice.
But it was so fun, and you get to see the growth as you watch back on some of our previous things. But we're growing every day, so yeah, absolutely. I love it. What are some things that you're passionate about? You enjoy?
Well, just along the same lines. Very involved with local community. Not just like she said, not just volunteering, but just actually being out there and being involved with multiple things. Supporting, local activities, organizations. There's a couple things I'm really heavily involved with. One of them being youth hockey. Yes. I coach both my boys hockey teams. So that is something that we're definitely passionate about. I think it's really important for kids for the development to play an organized sport. It makes coachable kids become employable adults.
Oh, yeah.
Is
Oh, yeah.
something I've always believed. So they need to get that basis early on, and I think they learn a lot of important skills for life.
Yeah.
They learn failure, they learn how to handle winning, they learn how to handle losing. There's such a balance of emotions that are important for life overall, and it's something I think that they learn a lot of in youth sports.
And
So
you know what I learned about hockey? That is not an inexpensive sport
Oh
to
my
play.
goodness.
That is very
Yes.
expensive. Like they need multiple skates, and
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it adds up quick.
oh yeah, and it's inevitable. There's always weekends of hockey out of town. So every time you do that, it's an Airbnb. It's meals out to eat.
Oh yeah.
It's gas to get there. There's tons of expenses that you wouldn't even think about.
It's
Yeah.
not chartered. It's not like you guys have a private jet to take you
Right.
to
Hop
different
on.
locations, right?
Yeah.
What's the furthest you guys have went and traveled for youth hockey?
Fairbanks, actually.
Fairbanks,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. We've already been to Fairbanks once this year.
Did you drive it or?
Yeah, we drove it.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
So
That's a tough drive.
yeah.
You know what's neat about you're talking about being heavily rooted coaching a hockey community. One of my best friends is heavily involved in hockey, and what I've found is that you get another family from that sport.
Yeah, you do.
You create your own like tight knit organization. It's so neat. You have all these people that your kids are getting to be a part of that, and they're experiencing that created family. So I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about that too is not only have I made several personal friends through this, but I've also met several people that have become clients, and it's like I said, I don't just want those one time clients. I like to build relationships with these people,
I see the
and
passion.
yeah, so it's cool how everything ties together at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If you take care of your community and support your community, everything comes back.
And I can tell, I see the passion coming out. I can tell family is very important for the both of you guys. You want to talk about your families?
Yeah, my husband is military. He's Air Force. So he's, like I said, the one that brought, go Air Force. Yeah, he's the one that brought us here. And I have two very beautiful, one Spitfire and one more tender children. I have a 7-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old son. I'll let you guess who's the Spitfire and who's the tender one. But yeah, they are definitely what keeps me on my toes, and waking up early and going 100 miles an hour to meet all the different scheduled activities. Everything about their schedule is probably just as exciting, if not more.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So I'm married, my wife Amanda, and I got 2 kids. My boys are what are they? They are 9 and 14 now. Yeah. And kind of like you, one is very timid and good kid, and the other one is a good kid, but he's got the energy, and he keeps everyone on their toes. So everybody knows him everywhere we go.
Yeah.
there has to be one.
There has to be one. You got to have the balance, right?
Yeah.
But they're not introverted at all. Both of your sons, they're very talkative.
Oh,
I learned
gosh.
from
Yes.
I learned a lot from them just having a conversation.
Yeah, you've been fishing with my son, so
Yeah.
you know all about him.
His son's telling me about shoes.
Oh
And
my God.
he knows all about Jordans, and I grew up with Air
Wow.
Force Ones.
Nice.
And he kind of downplays Air Force Ones. I think that's an old person shoe now.
Oh.
Oh my goodness! And then her son was telling me about they're traveling, they're going to Arkansas, and all
Yeah.
those different things. So that's exciting because when I was young, I never left California much.
Yeah.
And so that's exciting that you guys are offering that to your kids. I love it. I love it. What are some other things that you guys like to do as a hobby? I know you probably don't get to hobby raising kids, but when you need to just relax, what do you do?
Oh man. So I have found that I have to incorporate my kids in my hobbies because, to put myself out there a little bit, I do have ADHD. And so with that comes 500 hobbies, and for 5 minutes each.
Yes.
But my children, we usually do like a lot of hands-on craft making, like soap making, candle making, stuff like that. That's pretty lighthearted. But if you want to get into like the really more intensive hobbies, personally, hiking and I've kind of gotten this very quick, well, I'd say it's a downhill slope, but I'm trying to hike up, but I quickly became, I don't want to use the word addicted, but with the sport, because I've invested in good hiking boots, good gear to go out, and my goal this year is to do Pioneer Peak.
Okay.
And then go up from there next year. So
Nice.
trying to see how high we can take it this year, but
You definitely go hard.
yeah, I'm trying.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are your hobbies?
Well, I mean, we do all the Alaskan things. Like I said, I got 2 boys, and they love to get outdoors, and they love to do all the Alaskan things. We fish, we camp. My kids love, the kids are addicted to dirt bikes.
Yeah.
I know you tried to avoid that word,
I
but they both my boys love riding their dirt bikes. Let's see here. We go out and we go shooting, do all the great Alaskan things. My wife and I, if we just want to kick back and get away for the weekend, we'll plan a camping trip and take the RV and just go find a quiet place and get away for a little bit.
I love it. I love it. Both of you guys define to me the word hustle, right? I don't think I've ever seen anyone hesitate to rebuild, right? Because again, like Luke, he didn't start off doing home inspections, and so that's probably a scary avenue to just jump into. And when I met Miranda had blow houses, she's selling jams, she's weightlifting. And so the definition of hustle, you guys define that every day. And it's what I love the most about you guys. And so when you guys got into business, right, what did you think initially when you said, I'm going to be an entrepreneur? What did you think?
Oh, man. I got into entrepreneurship because I wanted to connect with people. And I know that probably sounds like the most cliche response, but it's the truth. Yeah. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I was going to sell. Like you said, bounce houses. I just saw the idea and ran with it. I was like, we are going to sling bounce houses around Alaska. But
I called it blow house. Bounce house.
It's hilarious. No, I don't know. I think that with entrepreneurship, just you have to have a love for people over a love for rapid success and selling, because connecting with that person is what's going to build your entrepreneurship. So I think that's what really enticed me, because I knew I was going to meet people. It's going to pull me outside of my comfort zone way further than I would any other way. So I thought it would be just a good place to land.
Right. What about you? What got you into starting a business?
Let's see here. Well, when I first started my first business, I was actually going to college. Wow. And the job I was working at the time was not conducive to my school schedule. Didn't allow me kind of the flexibility I needed to have time to study and still do my classes and get good grades and all that. So I kind of decided that I would just go out on a whim and do my own thing. So I actually started a landscaping business. Was my first business. I went out on my own and started doing tear outs and reinstalls of landscaping, and I just started there and I loved it. After I got done with school, I ended up closing down my landscaping business, went back into the corporate world, and quickly realized that that wasn't where I fit. I'm kind of like once again, like you said, the ADHD thing. I don't talk about it much, but I'm very ADHD. I have to have I have to be going 100 different directions at once, and I think it's fulfilling to me, just the amount of chaos that is in entrepreneurship.
So we talked a little bit about business. And so if you were to give advice to someone that is brand new trying to become an entrepreneur, or even your younger self, what would you say?
It's the hardest advice for me to still take, actually, but I would tell them to not be afraid to start perfect. And I know everyone says that, everyone tells you just start, you don't have to be ready, but it's the truth. It's the baseline. You don't have to have all your pieces in place to start. It can be a little bit chaotic. You can figure out the stepping stones on your way. You can fall a little bit, pick back up, and you're actually going to build, I think, more organically and a lot more quickly when you show that side of your process to people, because they're going to say, man, I saw this person really take off from here, falling a little bit, to up here, standing confidently and really in their success. So,
yeah, 100%. How about you? What would you?
I think if I could go back and tell my younger self, I would say, don't be afraid to fail. Fail stands for first attempt in learning.
Yeah.
So, you learn a lot of things along the way. You're going to have a lot of failures along the way. Most people fail. About 5 businesses generally fail before somebody finds something that they're truly successful at. So if you look through some famous entrepreneurs, look through their books and read some things that they've wrote, and you're gonna learn a lot of interesting things about how much work it took a lot of them to be who they are today. But persistence, it leads to consistency, I think, is the other thing. A lot of people give up, I think, when they're right on the brink of success.
Yeah.
And you just gotta push through and keep doing what you're doing. And if you have the passion for it, then you can make it work.
Yeah, no kidding. I think what you kind of leading to is kind of managing your expectations, right? Some people jump into business with these outrageous ideas, and I'm going to make money right away.
6 figures for 6 months.
Yeah, and once they realize that it doesn't happen that way, and or some people say, I want to work less. I don't want to clock in. And since I got into business, I probably put more hours in as an entrepreneur than I ever would have by clocking in, right?
Yeah.
And we don't get paid overtime.
Right.
There may be some times where you don't know where that money's coming from. And so it's just kind of managing your expectations. It's kind of like raising a child.
Yeah.
It's probably the closest thing that I could probably say to someone. But you're right. It's we all are going to bounce around, and our businesses or our thoughts are going to evolve.
You were kind of talking about, you mentioned your first startup. So I didn't have a legitimate startup until like more towards my adult life. But whenever I tell someone the story of what started my love for entrepreneurship, and how I know that even from a young age that I wanted to do that, was I actually started selling Post-it notes. And that sounds so random, but I was maybe 6 years old, probably close to my daughter's age. And I just knew I wanted a business, and I told my parents I'm going to go walk around the neighborhood. And, it was, at that time, street lights was the rule, so got to be backed by street lights.
Yeah.
But I went out and I just drew smiley faces or little, like, have a great day, whatever. And I sold them for $25. I mean, not $25. My gracious, 25 cents.
Amazing.
That would have been a great day, right? 25 cents each. But I went around, but I remember coming back and my mom was so upset because all of our neighbors, our community, I just went out and like sold them all these things.
Yeah.
She made me go return all the quarters. But I remember telling her like that was just the start. I was going to come up with another business idea.
Yeah.
And so from that point on, I just kept thinking like I knew I always wanted to go out there and do something. It wasn't just the lemonade stand or whatever. I just knew I wanted something different, and that kind of self success, I guess. But
every time you guys say something that sparks an idea, and I have a friend, right? His daughter, she did the lemonade stand.
Yeah.
And she went out there with lemonade, some cookies, and she came home with like $675.
My goodness.
Selling lemonade.
It's good. That's really good.
And I guess you have to not wait to try to become the expert. This little girl didn't have any sales skills, no sales training, no education in business. But she sold that lemonade, right? Because your joy and your want to succeed needs to be greater than your fear of rejection.
Right.
And so it's so funny to see that. And even another friend of mine, his son's in the Cub Scouts, and he maybe sold $2,500 in popcorn. $2,500 in popcorn. Again, no sales training, no background in business, but he sold the popcorn.
You saying that kind of brings me to another thought of, I think a lot of the time we get scared to do a startup because it already exists. But it's this, what you're saying is if you are invested in and believe in or have the passion behind what you're doing, even if it's just popcorn, then you can get people to support you. You can get people on board with what you're doing, even if there's 5 more Boy Scout, Cub Scout stands next door. Then they're going to love your energy. They're going to love that unique experience. So that's actually something that has stayed consistently important to me. And when I offer real estate photography, graphic design, I think there are so many other people that are doing this exact same thing. You could go choose from a pool of people. And I think it's the connecting with the energy and knowing that someone truly feels passionate behind what they're offering that will bring someone back.
Amen, amen. What about you? Some things that have popped into your head about business.
Oh boy, so many going around. Just
Yes.
Goodness, I don't even know where to put my finger on it. There's just just so many things that you guys points and things that you guys have brought up. But what was that? Go ahead.
Earlier, you were talking about how you felt enticed by entrepreneurship because we tend to lean on that like ADHD side, and it's like all the working pieces like kept you so engaged.
Yeah, exactly. Because us ADHD people, we can't sit down on the couch and do nothing when we get home at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's always something else to do with owning your own business, there's always an email that needs sent. There's always a phone call. There's always a social media post that needs to be made. There's always something. That can be done. So yeah, it keeps us busy, keeps our mind working.
How do you stay motivated though? If there's not someone on top of you hitting you upside the head, how do you stay motivated in business?
That's one of the things that it's taken a long time for me to find that motivation within myself. It's been a struggle. It hasn't been super easy. But at the end of the day, I have my own bills to pay. I have employees that rely on me for a paycheck, and I know what needs to happen. And I just push through. And I'm a notepad guy, so I constantly make myself notes of things I need to do. I have to write down my tasks and goals and whatnot to keep track of them. So if I find myself kind of getting scattered, I'll just go back to my notepad and say, okay, what's the next thing I need to do?
You're talking about that pressure of like, I know that I have to get this done because these people rely on me, and that's a huge motivating factor for sure. Something that made me think too is I don't feel motivated all the time. Sometimes I feel like I can't show up that day because I can't tell my body like, we've got to go do this. And it just feels like I'm glued to my seat. Right. Just kind of that executive dysfunction, I guess you could say, where you're just like, I'm stuck here. But what I found, somebody else said this, and it was some solid advice, was to not look for motivation to be what gets you going, but to just be able to say, like, this is what the facts are. I have to make this end meet. I have to make sure I'm taking care of my people. So I'm going to get up and I'm going to do this. I don't feel excited about it today, but that's okay. I'm still going to do it. Just still showing up even when there isn't motivation.
Yeah, you just got to stay positive, right? Don't allow negativity to downplay. It's not just popcorn. It's not just a home inspection. It's not just anything, right? It's what value are you bringing every day you get up in the morning. And so that's important. And it's rewarding when you see those things and you see the smiles on people's faces.
Absolutely.
So I love it. I love being an entrepreneur, but it is a lot of work every single day where you're trying to improve. Mm-hmm. But that's awesome. I love it. Every day I'm learning something new. I'm learning about new people. I can't discount that. So amen to that.
That is kind of what you were saying too. You may not have that motivation getting started with your day, but once you get out there and you connect with your client, you get out there at the inspection and they're lighting up over the conversation you guys are having. It's like it reignites that, and you're just like, okay, now I'm back in the game. I feel good again. Makes you want to show up for the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. We all have those mornings we wake up and we don't want to get out of bed and we don't want to get the day started, right? But it's one of those things you just have to push through, and then once you get going, the little rewards throughout the day,
bring it back.
Keep us going.
All right. Well, I want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas. I know we had a couple of questions. But it's been fun. I had a
been
good
great.
time.
Yeah, thank you. We really appreciate the invitation to come on and do this. So
Thank you again to First Rate Financial for allowing us to use your space. Thank you. And please tune in, watch us on YouTube, give us a like, share, and a follow so we can continue to do this. Thank you.